Hello, guys. Happy Wednesday. I hope that you all have been doing well. We are just waiting to see who pops up tonight. So, we have someone who joined. Hello. Let's see if the wave is working tonight. So, y'all might see me messing with my shirt all night because it's one of those oversized shirts and like it keeps moving out of place, like where I want it. And this is going to drive me crazy. Like, I cannot wait to get out of this shirt. But this is the last of the Go Wednesday of the year. Like, I can't even believe that. Like, it's so crazy. Once upon a time, I didn't even know that these videos would even be a thing. I knew that I wanted to do it, but it still was a lot. Just pushing myself to get on camera. And I think this is probably like my 10th Let It Go Wednesday. And even though I did intend to do more, like I'm still grateful for the amount of videos that I did do. So I'm just grateful and I'm thankful to be here, and really it just speaks a lot to what I'm going to speak about tonight, my faith journey. And I'm going to get into all of that pretty soon. But before I do, I want to let you all know that my new ebook is officially out. So, Doing Business the Legal Way, How to Start and Run an Online Business, is available now. So, you just go to the link in my bio. And if you're someone who's been thinking about starting a business but didn't exactly know how to go about it, or if you went through the process of figuring out how to get it registered, but you're stuck and you don't know exactly what you need to do to get it up and running, how to set up payment, make sure that you go to the link in the bio and get your copy. And it is $14.99. So if you are on my mailing list, you got a little special gift and you can get it at a discounted rate. And if you don't want to miss out on the next special offer, make sure that you go to the link in the bio and sign up for my mailing list. Like, I'm always giving out a lot of goodies to my mailing list just for supporting me, so make sure that you sign up if you don't want to miss out on the next one. And if you want to hear more about what's in the ebook, or if you just want to hear more about how to turn your LLC into a successful business, go over to @Masterpieces Writing and click follow, click the bell, and I will be doing a live video tomorrow for Pick My Brain, and I'm going to talk all about how to get your business up and running and how to make it successful. So if you don't want to miss out on that, like I mentioned before, go to @Masterpieces Writing, follow, and click the bell. So let's do a time check. It is 6:04. Wow. See, I told y'all like I'm going to be messing with this shirt like all freaking night. But anyway, so, just to get into what I wanted to talk to you all about tonight, the title is What Do You Believe? And I was talking to my therapist a couple of weeks ago about my faith journey. And she has been very instrumental in helping me process a lot of things. And when I tell y'all, like, the transformation has just been amazing. Like, it amazes me how much of a different person I am. I started therapy in June, and to see where I am now in December, it is amazing. And a lot of my live videos since starting therapy, she's helped me like process things so that I could be better able to talk about them. And oftentimes when we're talking, she'd be like, "That's a good idea for one of your videos." And I was like, so a couple of weeks ago, she suggested doing this particular video, and I was going to title it, "Oh Ye of Little Faith." Because I might have mentioned this before, it's like my faith was like wavering. Like, even though you need only the faith of a mustard seed, it's like even that little bit, it just still was not enough to keep me going on, to keep me just pushing through. And I was listening to a sermon from Transformation Church on YouTube. If you have not checked out any of their videos, please do so. Their Crazy Faith series was amazing, and now they're doing a Crazier Faith series, and it is mind blowing. And I was listening to a sermon, and I don't even remember what the pastor said, but I remember thinking, I've got to change the title. I have got to change the title. And the reason why I decided to change the title was because I realized it was never really a matter of how much faith I had. It was a matter of what I had faith in. And a lot of you might be surprised because this might be you too. So, the reason why I decided to change the title to What Do You Believe is because I believe more in the negative than I did in the positive. It was easier for me to believe that I was unworthy, that I was undeserving, that I was never going to live out the life that I knew that I was intended to live, that I was purposed to live. And that's the reason why, like, every bad thing that happened, it just seemed to be repetitive and it just kept happening. And it was easy to believe I'm always going to be here. I'm never going to have enough money. I'm never going to have the career that I want. I'm never going to have the relationship that I want. I'm never going to have the peace of mind that I want. But I did not realize it's because I was investing way too much of my faith in the negative happening. And it had been a part of my makeup for years. You know, like, I'm 31 now. So think about how many years that was embedded in me, like, since I was young, thinking that, oh, you're not big enough, you're not cute enough, you're not smart enough, you're not attractive enough, you're not any of these things that would make you enough. And that stuck with me. And I've mentioned this to you guys in previous videos, like, really getting to a point to where I realized that about myself. Like, the reason why my self-esteem used to take a major hit, the reason why I didn't believe in myself, the reason why I just was not a confident person, the reason why I feared so much was because I did not believe in myself. Yes. Yes. So we have a comment. It's human nature to have doubts. Learn to doubt your doubts. I love that. Oh my God. I love that. It took me a long time to get to that point to where I really could. Because when I tell y'all, like, my doubts were real. They were very real. And what's so crazy about it is that the world around you will start to support your theory. So it's like, see, that's why I didn't so and so. And see, I knew that was going to happen, but you attracted that negative energy because that's what you put your faith into. That's what you believed. So if you believe that you were always going to be broke, guess what? That's why you were broke for all these years in a row. If you believe that the relationship was not going to work out, guess what? That's why it did not work out. You put that hope and faith into that belief. And that's the reason why it was real. And I realized that faith cannot exist where there's fear. It cannot. And when I tell y'all, like, I feared so many things, so much so that I talked myself out of a lot of opportunities. I talked myself out of a lot of relationships, a lot of friendships. Like, I talked myself out of my own growth. Like, I would be right there at the finish line, like, getting close to my breakthrough, but it would get so hard. And it's like, nah, because I didn't know what was on the other side. I did not know, but I knew what I was comfortable with. I was comfortable with the doubting. I was comfortable with just staying in the same place I was in, even though I hated being in the same place. I was comfortable with being there because that's what I knew. So that's what I would retreat to. And I talked about that in a previous video. I used to think I would run away from situations, but it's like, nah, I would retreat because I didn't feel as if I was strong enough to go forward, to keep going. And I don't know if I mentioned this to you all on my wall. I have faith and keep going. Those were two important things that I did not have once upon a time. But what I had faith in was that something was going to stop me from going. Something was going to stop me from getting to where I knew I needed to be. It was going to stop me from fully believing in my potential. It was going to stop me dead in my tracks every single time because, again, like I said, I invested all of my hope into this belief. And what's so crazy about it now is that, like, I can really have a direct parallel to my life now and my life just a year ago. So this time last year, y'all, like, I was trying to trick myself into believing that I had faith, right? So I did a YouTube video and it's a vlog, and I was deciding to move back home. And of course, at the time, it may seem as if like I was stepping out on faith and making this big move. But when I tell y'all, like, the whole entire time, those doubts were still back there in the back of my mind. Like, look, girl, what if you do all this and it still don't work out? You wasting your time. What if you get stuck there? Because for years, like, I lived independently on my own, just overspending money on rent, just trying to like make ends meet. If you've heard me talk about my journey, it has been a crazy one. And the reason why I did that was because of fear. It was a very scary thought for me to go back home because it was so many negative things that had happened to me at home. Like, that's where all the hurt started. So having to go back there was like, nah, dog, I don't want to do that. So what encouraged me to come back, I thought I was going to be here temporarily. I thought that it was only going to be for a limited amount of time, and all I had to do was just wait that out, and then I finally could be in a relationship I really wanted to be, how I really wanted to be, and I could really not have to worry about money anymore, because it's not just me who's providing income now. Like, I can share that with someone, and it's like that's where my focus was. That is where my faith was in. It's like something that was very self fulfilling, not anything that was going to catapult me to a new level. Basically, things that were going to pacify me. So, guess what happened when I got here? And I was here longer than I expected, and things were not going the way that I wanted them to go. Things were moving much slower, and it was very uncertain if they were going to happen at all. Guess who got upset? Guess who basically just decided to just throw everything away and be like, you know what? It's not worth it. And what's so crazy is that now when I realize it, I was communicating that to God, like, where you are taking me, it's not worth me being here in this uncomfortable space. Where you are taking me, it's not worth me actually working through all the things that's going to stop me from really living in my purpose. Like I said, now I can see that was very selfish. But last year, it was a very real thing to me. But again, that was fear. That was doubt. That was something different. Finally being in a space to where I didn't have to carry the baggage that I had been carrying for 20 plus years. That was a new space. But guess what? It was comfortable. So I went back there. So going into the beginning of 2021, I'm thinking like, all right, God, like my word for the year is ready. And I did not realize like how ready I was going to have to be, because when I tell y'all like God has taken me on this amazing transformational journey that I did not even see coming, and it has awakened like so many things in me that I did not even know was there. So I had to go through a lot of ups and downs. I had to have a lot of moments to where like I just had to stop. I had to cry it out. I had to be angry about certain things. It's like I really had to grieve the loss of a lot of things, because again, it's like what I thought I was going to have by that point in time, I did not have. So it's like, what do I do now, right? But at the beginning of that, I thought that, all right, so I knew this was going to happen. I knew it wasn't going to be what I thought it was. It's like just feeding myself like all of these negative thoughts, because again, that's what I believe. And once things started to turn around for me, when I was able to really like see myself and really deal with all of that dark stuff that had been there, because y'all, when I tell y'all, like, there have been so many like dark periods in my life. And I might have mentioned this in previous videos to where sometimes it felt as if it was just this dark cloud that would be hanging over my head, and it would seem as if there was no sunshine, nothing but rain. And even if it was a sunny day, I would always feel that dark cloud. I told you I was gonna be messing with the shirt all night. But, once I was finally able, like, all right, I have to sit here in this. Like there is no umbrella to protect me. I just have to sit here in what I'm feeling and like really feel it, because oftentimes I would try to find ways to run from it. But it's like, nah, you really got to sit here and you really have to feel it. And during that time, that's when I decided like something's got to break. Something's got to be different, because like what I've been doing has not been working. And I've ended up in the same situation over and over and over again. And it was the same thing with relationships, with friendships, even with my career, with finances, always ended up in the same position. It's like, well, what is going to take me to the next level? And I've heard this so many times that it is so true. Like, if you keep experiencing the same thing over and over, you haven't learned the lesson. And I didn't realize like how I was cheating myself out of certain experiences because I didn't want to stick it through. And of course, things were difficult, they were hard, but it was preparing me for something greater. It was teaching me how to persevere, but I didn't want to do that. It's like, all right, I'm not looking for it to be easy, but it got to be easier than this. Yes, crying is definitely a cleansing. It is. And when I tell you, I have no issue with crying now. And before, there used to be something that I would try to fight against. For a while, I used to think that like my emotions were turned off. But once they turned on, it's like there was no turning them off. And now it's like I can cry and still be happy, because I know that what I was feeling, I just needed to process that and release it and let it go. Like you guys wouldn't believe, it's like just off and on throughout this week, it's like I've shed a few tears, but most of them they've been tears of gratitude. They have been tears of joy. And like I mentioned to you all before, when I was going through that period to where like I just had to sit and what I was feeling, that's when I decided to sign up for therapy. And that has been one of the best decisions I could have ever made, because of course I was reading all these self-help books and listening to all of these sermons, and surrounding myself with good people, but it's like that still was not enough. Like I needed to go deeper. And once I was able to do that, and once I was really able to peel back all of these layers, like I was really able to see, it's like, well, Erica, you kind of did that to yourself. You kind of self-sabotaged that. Like what you always wanted, what you always desired, like it was right there. But you decided to just drop it and be like, you know what? It's not worth it. So I'm not going to continue to fight for it. And I know oftentimes a lot of people think that, okay, so if it's a relationship, oh, you're just hung up over some man. But it is way deeper than that. It's like at the end of the day, like I knew for a fact that a part of my purpose is connected with certain people. And if I wasn't able to make those relationships work, it's like, oh, that's me basically telling God, like, what you were designing for me, I didn't think it was good enough. And oftentimes, whatever you think is best for you, whatever you feel that you want, that's not what God has in store for you. Because again, you're shortchanging yourself because you can only see a limited amount of the picture. So someone else joined. Hello. And whenever you can only see a limited amount of the picture, you only have a limited perception. You don't know what lies ahead. And like I mentioned to you guys before, once I started to see, like, oh, in hindsight, now I can see how many things were starting to move together and be pieced together to get me to where I needed to be. And even though I've always had the desire to be married, to have kids, to have this wonderful career, like, none of that was the end goal. None of that was the point. The point was for me to just be used by God, to be a light, to be a vessel, to bring other people to Him, to live in my purpose, to live a kingdom life. That was the point. And it was just going to happen through all of these avenues. But again, like I said, because I was so used to holding on to having a faith in me just not being deserving, never getting what I always want, I didn't know what to do with it. Which is why now I can sit here in gratitude because it's like, man, had I gotten it, I really would have messed it up. And I really would have messed some people up along the way because I did not know what to do with it. I did not know how to handle it. And I know a lot of people do not like to hear, people say that, Jeremiah 29:11 is basically like, the Bible verse that's just getting them through life, that is really like not necessarily the soundtrack, but kind of sort of like that. Like that's the vision that they have for their life. And I'm one of those people who can say, like, it is my favorite Bible verse. Trust me, it is. And I understand the context because that's the big part of the reason why a lot of people say you shouldn't say that because you don't know the context. But I do know the context. And that's a big part of the reason why I do love this Bible verse. So if you're not familiar with it, so the people that God is speaking to in this particular point of the Bible is people who are in captivity, people who are in exile, people who have been there for years and will be there for a total of 70 years before they are able to see the promises of God. And of course, that might sound like a turnoff. That might sound like something that you have no desire for, something that you do not see for yourself. But let me tell you something. It may be 70 years for a certain group of people. It may be 5 for another one. It may be 1 for someone else. It might be weeks for someone else. It might be months. Like you do not know. But the point is, it does not matter. When you truly have faith in God and His promises, it does not matter the time. It doesn't matter the time. Because in the process of waiting, you are waiting gracefully. You are humbly waiting for your assignment and you're working in the process. You're not just waiting on what God has for you. It's like you're using what you have in the present moment. You're grateful for what you have in the present moment. And that's why I can continue to say, like, I absolutely love that Bible verse. It is my favorite Bible verse because at the end of the day, that's something that, like, I know is going to happen now. I did not know it before, but I guarantee you, it's like I know it now. Like, I know the things that I have seen. I know the things that God has spoken to me, and I know that they will happen. And it does not matter when, it does not matter how. I just know that these things are going to happen. These things are going to be the thing that solidifies my legacy. What will be here when I'm no longer here? What will people remember me by? And it won't necessarily be things that are just seen in the image. It would be an impact, which is why I mentioned to you guys in previous videos. That's why, like, I'm so focused now on being a humble servant, a faithful servant. Like, that's really the point now. Like, I just want to serve and I want to serve well. I don't want to do it grudgingly because I used to do that. I used to have an attitude when I would do certain things, felt as if all of my sacrifices were just that. They weren't going to pay off. It was just me continuing to give without people giving back to me. But when I tell y'all, like, I have completely let all of that go. Completely let it go. And it's like, I know without a doubt, like, I am worthy. I am deserving. I know that all the things that God has shown me, I know that they will happen for me how He wants them to, not exactly how I see them happening. And even if those things do not happen, I'm not tripping because I know that something better is on the way. It has to be, and that's why I mentioned before, like, it's so funny how I talk now in comparison to how I talked this time last year. It was completely different. It was nothing but despair. And I just could not see myself out of where I was. But now it's nothing but hope. And even though, sometimes people may not understand your vision, that's okay too. Because God didn't give it to them. It's yours. And I've actually had to deal with that, which is why it's amazing because with me being someone who would take on people's feelings and I would be a people pleaser and I wanted people to respect my decisions and like them. So whenever someone would say that they didn't necessarily see what I saw, or when someone didn't necessarily understand why I felt a certain way about something, why I wanted to do something, like I would try to change it to where they could, to where it would appease them, but I ended up hurting myself more in the process. Now, I'm like, that's fine. That's fine. You don't have to see it from the perspective that I see it because it is for me. It's not for anyone else. And I can only hope that whatever it is for you, you feel exactly the same about it. But it's like, I'm not phased by your thoughts, by your opinions. And like I said before, like that would literally like just change like my whole outlook on things. Just because I feel, well, so and so doesn't think it's a good idea. They don't think I should do this. They don't think I should go here, do that. It's like, nah. It's not between me, them, and God. It's between me and God. And that is what I continue to rest in. It's like I know that what is for me is for me, and I know that without a shadow of a doubt. And when I ask myself now, what do I believe? I believe wholeheartedly, that I am deserving. I am worthy. I am complete. I am whole. Like, these are things that I had to work toward, things that I did not once believe about myself. But guess what? I know them now. I know that I am God's, and I know that because of that, I am always taken care of. I am always provided for. I know that there will always be a clear path for me to follow. There will always be a light guiding my path because of that. And now that I'm in that space, it's like I can really see what was the missing element. So, what was different from when I had faith in the negative as opposed to having faith in the positive? It was hope. Hope was that missing element. Hope was the thing that was missing. Hope was the thing that I just thought was just far from my grasp. I thought it was something that I would never attain, something I would never reach. But now I know it's like I have it and I am holding on to it for dear life. Like, it is my lifeline. I can honestly say that. It is my lifeline. It is the thing that keeps me going. And I can honestly say it's like, and I mentioned this in a previous video, like when I was really understanding what faith really means. The substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. It's like, I don't have to see it right now. Because guess what, y'all? Like I mentioned to you all before, how I used to see things last year, I'm still physically in that same place that I didn't want to be in last year. But guess what? I'm grateful to be here now because of how much change has happened, how much transformation has happened. And I had a therapy session with my therapist last night, and she was telling me, it's like, now you're able to repair. You can take what you're learning now and you can repair. And I'm so grateful just to have the opportunity to do that because sometimes you can mess things up so bad that you don't get the opportunity to fix them, to repair them. You don't get another chance to do things differently. Thank you. Thank you. I believe it. And trust me, I receive it. I know it. I know in a life that is waiting on me, guess what? I am waiting on it. And I think in a lot of ways it's waiting for me to catch up to it. It's always been there. It's always going to be there. And it's just sitting there waiting for me, which is why I can sit here and patiently wait and fulfill my assignment in the present time. Like, y'all, like every day I wake up, it's like I'm just so grateful. Because it was once upon a time, it's like I didn't see myself being here. I didn't see myself being in this space. And it's like now everything that has happened, like I'm understanding the reason why so much more. Things have become so much clearer to me because of that. And I am forever grateful. Forever grateful. And that's why I thought it was more than appropriate to do the final Let It Go Wednesday of the year on my faith journey, because it has been a very crazy year, but it has been an amazing year. And I am just excited. I am hopeful for what's to come. A lot of people dread the end of the year because it's going into a new year, but I'm like, come on. Like, whatever you got for me, like, I'm ready for it. Like, let's go. Like, there's nothing that I want to hold on to. There's nothing that I want to bring with me. It's like, I just want whatever the new year has for me in each new year after that. Like, because again, there have been times where I did not feel like that. And I was telling my sister earlier, there were times where I would try to hold on to things and I didn't want to let them go. Like, even when it was 11:59, December 31st, it's like I still would try to hold on to that final, like, minute. Not really ready to go into the new year, but it's like, now I'm ready. If tomorrow was New Year's Day, I would be perfectly fine. I would be perfectly fine because I know where my faith lies. I know where my hope lies, and that is in God, And if anything, that I have learned, I've learned that God will never fail me. I have learned that. And even during those times where it may have seemed as if I failed myself, like God was still there, like, nah, get yourself together, let's go. We still got things to do. So I'm so glad, that God has been patient enough to wait on me. And that's why, like, I don't mind waiting on God. Like, I'm not waiting on a particular thing to happen. I'm not waiting on a particular person to make a move or say something. I am waiting on God to make a move. I am waiting on God to speak, and again, it's like, it is just amazing to be here. And, like, even mentally, emotionally, it's like you guys have no idea, like, how drastic of a difference, like, it is, like, to just be in a place of peace, to where I'm not existing in confusion and turmoil. Like, I'm okay, like, with everything. And I mentioned that to my therapist last night, and she was like, you're better than okay. I was like, what, you're absolutely right. And she was like, you're excelling. And I'm like, wow, wow. And I was like, you know what, I am. I am. And she also mentioned that I was soaring. And what's so funny about that is, for a long time, I used to feel like I was drowning. I used to feel like the weight of the world was just holding me down under the water and was not letting me come up for air. But now I've let all that go. And it's like I'm allowing God to be the wind beneath my wings and just carry me. So wherever He takes me, I am willing to go. So let me do a time check, you guys, because I didn't want to be on here too long. Oh, like I told y'all, I cannot wait to get out of this shirt. But I was trying to be festive, since the holidays are coming up, even with my hair, so I have to let it hang a little bit, But I really do appreciate you all for tuning in, not just tonight, but for all of my videos prior. Like, you have no idea, like, what it took for me to even make the decision to start getting on camera, and then to be so open and so candid. And it's like, now it's like second nature. It's like I'm always thinking of what I could talk about, what I can share, because even though I did start out doing these videos for myself, for my healing, it's for yours too. And again, like I said, I just want God to use me. I just want to serve faithfully and humbly, So I'm just here to serve. And it is so amazing. And it's like, everyone who's come in it, who's joined in on the live, who's continued the conversation outside of live, it's like, you have no idea how much I appreciate that. Because again, it's like, I wanted to remain hidden for so long. I used to think that I had nothing good to say. I used to think that my life was nothing to share, and I'm realizing now that at the end of the day, like, we all are experiencing the same thing, just in different ways. Like, there are lessons that we all have to learn. It's just the experiences is what differs between person to person, but we're still learning the same thing. We're just learning how to fully appreciate ourselves, how to fully love ourselves, how to just fully be into existence. Serving each other is how we are going to figure this thing out, y'all. Just learning to just see each other as vessels and not necessarily as objects or things that we use, to just serve each other, to love each other, to be a light to each other. And that is what I am aspiring to do. I am going to continue doing that in the new year, and I'm super excited because I just see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Even though it's been a few people, that few people will turn into hundreds of people, thousands of people. And again, it's not to glorify me, it's to glorify God. And that's the beauty of it. So again, thank you, thank you. Thank you. And like I mentioned at the top of the video, if you all are interested in getting my new ebook, Doing Business the Legal Way, go to the link in the bio and get your copy. Also, if you are interested in working with me in 2022, make sure that you go to the link in the bio and book ahead because I will be out of the office starting on Friday. Yeah, it'll be Friday. So make sure that you book ahead to preserve your spot and also sign up for my mailing list so that you can get a lot of goodies. I'll have something special at the top of the year, so make sure that you all sign up. If you wanted to leave me a comment, do that. If you wanted to work with me in a future video, if you wanted to jump on here and have a conversation, send me a DM and we can get that set up for next year. And always, like, just thank you guys so much. And I hope that you all tune in to At Masterpieces right in tomorrow. And I am going to discuss how to turn your LLC into a successful business. And this ties into my faith journey as well. Like, I've had to have faith in God in so many different areas, and my career was no different. So I'm going to talk a bit about how you cannot make the same mistakes that I made. So if you are interested in learning the do's and don'ts of starting an online business, make sure that you go to At Masterpieces Writing, follow me, and click the bell so that you can get the notification when I go live. And I hope that you all have a wonderful evening. I hope that you have a lovely holiday season and that you go into 2022 just ready to soar, ready to excel, to be the best version of yourself. And if there is any way that I can help you all do that, please let me know and I will be happy to serve. So, again, thank you guys so much, and I hope that you have a lovely night, and I will see you guys next year. Bye.